Hello everyone, this is Kathy from the Daily Marker. How are you today? I wanted to share how I finished this card. I colored it when I was away, and I wanted to show how I did the background and some details. I colored these two beautiful poinsettias while I was away, so I'm just going to show how I did the background here too. So these are the two poinsettias. I used some colored pencils. And I just love poinsettias, and I'm sorry I can't share the coloring process here. But since I did use some coloring pencils, sometimes you get smudges along the way and it's just easy to erase. Now this panel I did while I was away as well. I just packed some colored pencils with me. I know, no Copics, right? So anyway, I'm finishing this off, and this little fern tree, I'm just taking a Copic marker, you could use any marker, and I'm just going around the stamped black image. I'm using Copic Friendly Ink, Memento black ink here, and I'm drawing a little pad of grass in these pots. And while I do this, I just have to say, this door is gorgeous for Mama Elephant. And if I had more time, my plan was to have the door open and the little critter peeking out, and I didn't have time to color another door and pop it on top and have it open up. So that's why you just see the interior of the door. When I stamped it, I just used my ink gingerly around the edges. Now I'm just taking a gray marker and adding a few little accents here and there. So I just want to make that clear. This door is awesome by itself, and I can't wait to color the full door. I just ran out of time. So I hope it just doesn't take away from the door. So I just want to make that clear. Now I'm just adding a little bit of shadow around the pots here, and I didn't do a lot of shading. I just did it in some areas. And then I always like to use a lighter color to soften that line, and then sometimes I'll go over that line again with the zero. But I'm going to be doing I want to create some paneling for the background, so you really don't even need to do this. And I'm just really kind of winging this. I had no plan for it except to pop a door, and that's not happening. So I'm adding some Copics coloring on top of my colored pencils, and now I'm just using a zero to blend some of that out. And that's it. Now I'm going to, you can see how gorgeous this door is. I just can't wait to color it. So anyway, I have some masking paper here, and I'm going to mask off the door, and then you'll see I'm going to turn my paper here. I'm going to use this grid background. This is a Tim Holtz ruler. Just use any ruler. You can use a acrylic block to make your lines, but I'm using the lines on this grid stamping pad to use with my pencil, because I want to create like aluminum siding look or something, siding on your house. Not wood shingles, but so I don't want to erase the pencils. I think it'll add a little bit of detail here. So I'm using some of this Post-it tape. I want to tape off. If I had the perfect thickness of tape, it would be great, but I don't. So I'm just cutting some of this, and I'm just going to do different layers at a different time. And you'll see how I do that. Now I always start off the paper, and then I bring my ink blending tool towards the center. So I'm just going to speed this up, and you'll see how it looks. Now I'm removing those strips, and then I want to finish my other strips, so I'm layering here. Also, I'm being a little bit careful. I'm trying not to add the exact same amount of ink. That way there's some distinction between the two. And then sometimes I don't line my Post-it up perfectly, and there's a little white line. But all of that, I think, adds interest. So I don't care about any of that. I've also done this with some thicker strips just for a fun background on a flower card I did once. So this is a fun technique to do at any time, and then you could take the tape vertically and add some, like a plaid or squares or whatever. So just play around with it. It's really super fun. Now here's the big reveal, taking the, gosh, what is wrong with me? It's too early. Anyways, you saw me take the masking paper off. Duh, there we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to do some quick coloring on the hat. I'm just using 2 colors. Don't even ask. Just use what you have. And then I'm just literally grabbing 3 colors to my browns. I always want a light, a medium, and a dark. And you really don't need to shade this too much, because the critters, if you add the various ink with a nubby rag and just put it on top of that, it adds so much texture and it kind of melts all the colors together. So I'm just blending this out and softening it, and then you could just really use the textured rag. But I haven't colored with a marker in a long time, so I'm just kind of futzing around here a little bit. What else? If you're new to me, to the Daily Marker, just look at my feed, and there's other coloring videos that expound on this a little bit more. And while I just finish this up, the 30-day coloring challenge starts November 1st. Okay, there's more info under this post on my blog. Now, here's the various ink. Here's the rag. I just get it a little bit damp, and I'm just trying to go where the Copic marker is. I don't think this will react with Distress ink, but I don't want to find out for sure. Now I always like to go back and add a little bit of darker accents and a little bit more in the shading. I like to do a little bit of dots and then a medium color to blend out the dots that I added, and then a light color, and it's just fun to do because I like to color. Now, of course, you don't need to do this. I think I'm saying a lot today. What else? There we go. Maybe you should count them. I should give a prize. Now I'm using the 0 here to soften some of those dots and some of that blending. Now, wouldn't this be great if I had the door and I popped it and you could open it up for an interactive card? I just really, really want to do that. Actually, I can always add that later. So I have a Sharpie fine tip marker. Since I've started stamping, I've been outlining images. And I'm just adding, I always make the eyes bigger, and I'm drawing a little mouth here, and I hope the folks at Mama Elephant don't care. So I'm just a doodler, so I like to doodle little I always worried about if that's the right thing to do or not. Now I added some more alcohol ink to my rag, and I wanted to give a little texture to the grass in the pot, so I just went over that. Now I'm going to stamp the this, how do you say it? Maui Christmas? Meow Christmas? I don't know. So I'm stamping that on the door, and then the mistletoe, and I'll go ahead and color that. I'm just coloring the frame in red, and then I'm going to take my white gel marker, and I think it was a little wet where I had the ink blending solution, so the mistletoe, the line is a little fuzzy. So to correct that, I'm going to take my white gel pen and go over that line. So in doing this, I'm erasing part of the line so it looks much better. And then once this dries, I can gingerly take a Copic marker and color those white leaves. Now I'm taking because I love to putz, I'm taking my fine tip marker and I'm tracing over the gel pen just to make the lines perfect. No one's going to notice this. And if you get a little bit of white gel pen on the tip of the marker, you just scratch it off on the side, scribble it off on the side. Now I'm going to take my marker here and gingerly, if you push it, then it goes into it. So you just have to skirt the surface of the white gel pen and you can do this. I hope that makes sense. Now I'll be adding glossy accents to the window, to the pots, to the nose, to the paws on this. And then I'm going to, once that dries, I end up adding 3 coats to the pots and to the windows. And it really gives it so much texture. But you have to wait for it to dry. Make sure it's really dry before you add a second coat. So if you don't have time, don't do it. 1 coat looks just dandy. So this is part of Mama Elephant's blog hop. They've released some exciting new stamps. It's their anniversary, to celebrate their anniversary. Now I wanted to show you that stamp set, but anyways, I love these small little talk bubbles, so I cut one out and I popped it on my card there. Now switching gears, this I colored when I was away. I traveled with my colored pencils and I want to finish this, so I thought I'd share that. It needed something on the back, so I always reach for a stencil when that's the case. Now I'm just holding this down. Do you like my pajamas? So it's late at night here and I'm just trying to finish these cards, and I'm using a very light bit of the Distress ink first, how I just went over that panel first. And then I'm doing the other card here, but I'm just using the light. I'm skirting around the image. Now I'm taking more of that color. I'm using concentrated color up in the top corners and just a tiny bit in the bottom. So let me know if you have any questions. You can see all the yummy layers on the window and the flower pot there. Glossy accents on the nose and the paws. So thank you so much for watching. See you back over at my blog, thedailymarker.com. And thanks to Mama Elephant for letting me work with their gorgeous stamps. Have a great weekend.